All right, Hot Breath of Verse. Welcome back to Hot Breath, the show where you learn comedy from the pros. I am your host, comedian Joel Byers, and we are on a mission to cultivate the next generation of great comics by interviewing today's great comics. And our guest today has really blazed a trail for so many comics to learn from. He was an Emmy-winning journalist that became a stand-up, discovered a character in his stand-up, and instead of taking voice lessons like people in the industry were telling him, he's like, never mind, I'll just post videos every day and then see what happens. And now the rest is just viral history, and he has one of the most well-known social media accounts in this comedy game, and we're excited to learn all about how we can do the same. So take notes and prepare yourselves for Mr. Charlie Berens, everyone. Let's give it up for Charlie.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this, man. You really, like, just to jump right into it, it's now more than ever with the pandemic. I mean, I was booked all last year. That was my first year where I was like, oh, I'm like a working consistent comic. I'm like headlining clubs. I'm like doing the job. And then it all evaporates. And now I'm like, well, what now? Like, I've doubled down on this podcast, but now I'm in this mindset of like, well, what is my Manitowoc like minute? What is my thing? You know, like how were you able to? I know you did a lot to try it, but maybe for comics, what can we do to start to find, as you say, you're tapped into a voice in your head and just started to do it a lot. How can we find our voice in our head?
Well, I think it's all about kind of finding your niche, I guess. I got to a point where I was doing red carpet reporting and all that sort of stuff because I was doing hosting, I was doing news, I was doing a bunch of other things. But the red carpet stuff was kind of what really pushed me into stand-up because, there's nothing really more soul-sucking than red carpet reporting. And so that really pushed me to do stand-up. And when I was doing stand-up, I was like, what's unique about me and what distinguishes me from like every other comic that I'm seeing. And part of it was just my news background. But that wasn't too relatable. So I was like, okay, what makes it relatable? Oh, I always messed up the way I said things on air. So then I just developed this character that doubled down on everything that people said was wrong about him. And then what ended up happening is it found the niche of that Midwest niche, and it's sort of underserved. There are a bunch of comedians from the South, but the Midwest didn't have a ton. So, and I noticed that because the first video I released on it, it just exploded. It did great, and that was after trying a bunch of videos that didn't do well. So I was like, I'm going to do a video a week, a sketch a week, until I find my thing or whatever. And I think that's like a good practice because it gets you in the habit of creating every week and putting something out. And then what's good about that is you don't just find your thing right away. You kind of stumble upon it, but in that process of stumbling, you become really good at the act of creating. So when something takes off, you're ready to put up another video the next week. And that video has, you've done enough reps that next video will probably be better. So I think that's kind of the idea of creating consistently gets you good creation. And then how that translates to stand-up is nobody really cares how good your stand-up is. And this is unfortunately, but nobody cares when they're booking you how good your stand-up is. You cannot even do stand-up. I got friends who haven't even done stand-up or hadn't done stand-up. They booked a tour and then they wrote a performance for a stage. Now, if it's bad, you can only do that once. But, if you're already a stand-up and you have that skill set already baked in, really it's just about getting the videos to take off. And with your following, you can book theaters, you can book whatever you want. So it's kind of a backdoor way into stand-up. You don't have to hustle as much on stage, I guess, or opening for people. It's sort of a cheat, if you will, from a stand-up perspective to headline, you know?
Well, there can be like some like OG comics are like these social media kids taking our weekends. You know, they're like the club only has 52 weeks and half of them are these social media kids. But
Mhm.
it's like get with it. You know, get with
Yeah.
it or get run over at the end of the day. Like it's evolving, and now more than ever, you are seeing people blow up on social media with a character, and then they have a show of that character, and that's
Mhm.
almost becoming it's almost becoming the new style of stand up in a sense. Yes, there's the Bill Burrs and people like that, but like the next wave, it seems like how you stand out is you find what's unique about you and just kind of build a show around that.
Yeah, yeah. And let me just also reiterate so much respect for, you know, the comedians who do it like the old school way. I think it's harder personally.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, why not use the tools at your disposal? And if, you know, while you're building your stand-up career, it makes sense to build your video career because a lot of bits, every bit you do on stage could be a sketch, you know. And the idea there is just basically, is it relatable? Is it relatable to someone scrolling? So it's a little different. Like it's got to be the idea or the sketch headline or whatever has to be enough to stop someone's thumb from moving up in a
Yeah.
system that's constantly perpetuating it to move up. So
Right.
it's tough, but at the end of the day, it's all fun because it's all creating in some aspect. And as long as you're doing that, you're doing the right thing.
How did you get how did you get over that mental block? Because I've had days where I'm like, all right, this is the day I'm posting a skit, or this is the day I'm even just gonna hold up my phone and talk into it. And then I'll like go to bed with that intention, and as I wake up, excuses start all as soon as I wake up, they're like, well, you shouldn't, that's dumb or whatever. Like how do you block that critic and just create?
You know, it's about, I think, just saying, okay, every week I'm putting out a video or whatever it is, whatever's attainable, and
Mm-hmm.
start with something super attainable. Start with TikTok. TikTok is a platform, though it has so many problems and whatever. It is one of the platforms where you can grow quickest, and you can. It's like the trends are just different improv games, you know. So yeah, a lot of people do improv, and you go to UCB, and it's like this is the game for this bit. You know, that's
Mm-hmm.
basically what TikTok is with its trends. It's like how funny can you make this in this time frame or whatever, and then you see sort of also TikTok, I think, is on the front edge of like new comedy, like comedy that a bunch of us will look at initially and be like, that's not comedy, that's not even funny, you know. But there's so many different ways to use the tool to make it funny. So it's not that TikTok isn't funny. I mean, they're probably spying on everything that's going on your phone. That's
Right.
what they're doing wrong. But so are all the social media giants. But yeah, just giving you different avenues to think creatively. It's basically giving you a box to work out of. I don't know if I'm explaining this in the most coherent way, but
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know.
basically, yeah. What I'm hearing is just set a super low attainable goal. If it's a skit a week, if it's just a video of you talking every week about whatever, it's just set an attainable goal, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, and the more comfortable you'll get at it.
Exactly. And you'll get that momentum too of like, oh, I accomplished this, I can accomplish that. And then slowly, you know, people will respond to something. And then as soon as people are responding in the comments, you reply back to them. And now you have fans and you kind of build it and it snowballs, hopefully, you know.
What were some of the early ideas you had that you said didn't work? What were you trying?
Uh, just it was like a lot of one-off sketches. It was sort of political comedy. There was just a lot of political comedy out there at the time, or you know, kind of the Jon Stewart thing. Everyone was doing the Jon Stewart thing. So, and then yeah, just one-off sketches that were like I did sort of a FIFA sketch I remember, which I thought was really funny, but it took a long time to produce, and it wasn't the most like relatable necessarily, you know. But
Uh-huh.
it's funny for people who know about FIFA, basically. So, I was just trying different topics. It was more topical, I guess, as
Mm.
opposed to just, finding a culture, I guess, to serve.
Is that FIFA the one that took you 60 hours to make?
Yeah, it took me a while.
I
Yeah.
remember hearing you in interviews say like you spent 60 hours on some videos that got nothing, and then like 20 minutes on one that'll like blow up.
Yeah, yeah. And that one that took 20 minutes was if Jack Dawson was from Wisconsin, which was just as it was actually a stand-up bit that I couldn't get to work very well on stage.
Uh
So
huh.
I was like, but it's funny. And I was like, what if I could just make a video and show that on? Well, why don't I just make a video, So that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah. What struck me, and I my ADD took me into the 60-hour thing, but like you said, you were working on more topical videos as opposed to something. You said culture or something. You said another word there, but
I think serving a culture is what
serving
I
a
said.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's taking okay, it's the stand-up thing, right? Like what's the first thing you do when you come up with your stand-up set or I mean a way a lot of people start is writing 10 facts about themselves. So it's kind of like in that same 10 facts you read about yourself, that's what you know the best. So is there a niche in there that's underserved or that really, speaks to you or that you just like writing jokes about? I mean, it's just a good place to start and give yourself a platform to grow from, I guess.
Yeah, that could almost be a good place to start for a comic struggling is like, okay, list 10 facts about you, and then for the next 10 weeks or the next 10 videos you do, make each video about one of those facts and see if anything sticks.
Yeah, 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 because you'll have plenty more where that comes from. And it's also nice because I think a lot of people suffer from just sort of writer's block. But if you say like you have to come up with 10 facts about yourself, that can eliminate that. And then if you say, okay, each of those facts you have to write a bit about, 3 minutes or like just 3 bullet points even. It's something you can complete in a day and again get that momentum. So.
How do you create so much? How do you generate so many ideas? Dude, just scrolling through your feed, every idea is just like a hitter and it's so like specific and well written and executed. Like what is like now the creative process behind this machine you've built?
Well, yeah, thank you. I mean, actually, when I get off of this, I'm going to get on a creative meeting with the producers and just gonna throw a bunch of ideas off the wall and see what sticks. Like, and it's everything. There's no bad ideas. It's like bizarre ideas, stupid ideas, things are stupid, but you're gonna say anyway. Because you never know. They could make like even if it's not gonna make like a 3 minute sketch, it'll make maybe a TikTok. Maybe it's worth trying. Maybe it's
Hmm.
dumb, but maybe it inspires something else. So just having those consistent creative brainstorms and then also just, having my notes section on my phone is just obvious, as I'm sure every comedian's is just full of a bunch of half-baked, terrible ideas. But at some point they could inspire something down the road. So,
How many people are on your team now?
two.
Two. Oh, two in
Yeah.
addition to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So you guys will meet up like so basically you're walking through the world as funny people looking for ideas and then you'll all meet together once a week or something and like see what
Well,
sticks.
yeah, I mean, we work together all week, like because we have the podcast, so someone edits that, and then we have a weekly video, someone's editing that, so everyone does different jobs in the producing aspect, and
Oh,
then
cool. Okay.
just yeah, once a week, or yeah, it's pretty much once a week if we can. We just go through these ideas, upcoming videos, and the more you can stay a couple videos ahead too, the more you can be more creative and not in that space of, oh man, I need to think of something.
Yeah, same thing with podcasting.
Yeah.
If it's weekly, I mean we've done over 300 of these and I've been up at like 4 a.m. to release this at 8 a.m., like
Yeah,
that's
I've done
part of
a
the
lot of
game.
And that's the thing too, is to try and avoid that, because I think that just leads to the burnout, and that's the other end of it. And I'm not great at that part. I've burnt out many times, but if you can just be in that more creative, oh, it's a couple of weeks off, we don't need this, or you're getting the sleep you need, simple stupid stuff like that does help. So
Yeah, it seems, and that's something looking at the team aspect, and this is something I heard Andrew Schultz talk about, was
mhm,
comedy almost being more of a team sport now. And he's like, you
mhm.
can do it alone, but he's like, you're competing against us, and he has like 3 other people on his team, at least in front of the camera. I'm not sure how many he has altogether, but it seems more than ever, comedy is becoming more of a team sport, which is interesting.
It's so much more fun that way. I have people I collaborate with, and look, it makes sense because you're getting their followers, they're getting your followers. You're both rising. You cross post the video. Facebook and those things like to see collaboration, so it only helps. And the more you see is like there's enough for everybody, just the better it. First of all, it's true. There's not any limits on,
Yes.
what a million people can sell out dates. There are plenty of dates on the books at all these clubs. There's plenty of time for people to get out there. If you have an audience that'll come see you, and there's just more people being added to the world every day. So, so get those fans before our population goes extinct, so we'll be fine, but it's way more fun to collaborate. I have so much more fun doing videos with other people than I do just doing them by myself.
Yeah, you said something interesting there with Facebook likes to see collaborations. Is it
Mhm.
something within the algorithm if they see like accounts connecting?
Yeah, now that I say that, I don't know if that's still a thing in the algorithm. I believe it was at one point. I believe
Uh-huh.
YouTube also had it because, they create those creators centers, and Facebook, a buddy of mine went to a meeting of Facebook creators that they put together. And they do. I mean, Facebook likes it, brings more people to the platform, I think, and they have cross posting methods enabled. I doubt they would have those enabled if that wasn't something they wanted you to do. But yeah, it makes sense to find other people creating and put your brain together. And I mean, it's the same reason musical artists feature on each other's albums and all that. And it's fun and it brings audiences in.
Yeah, I think that is the old mindset in comedy is like every man for himself. I think it is more collaborative, and that's the culture of the Hot Breathiverse here is positive and supportive because when I started 11 years ago, I was alone and confused and there wasn't anyone on an open mic who was like, "Here, let me help you out here." I mean, it was just all
Uh,
uphill and I'm like, if I can create a platform for comics to not have to go through all that unnecessary suffering just for the sake of like proving whatever. It's like, no, if
yeah.
you can just get a safe space to develop as a comic, you're going to get that much funnier faster and comedy's better for it.
Exactly. I mean, look, I'm sure that there is a, certain comedian out there who doesn't like hearing any of this, but that's cool. That's cool. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
have to like it. I've just found it's easier, and I tried doing the open mic thing for a long, long time. And here's the truth of it. I wasn't that good doing open mic. I was okay.
Uh-huh.
I had a decent 8 minutes, but it wasn't until I ended up like selling a show that I did my first headline thing. And at that point, I only had 8 minutes. But once you develop it enough and you run it enough times and you get up on stage and you do it, and then you do it like, I don't know, 300 more times if you have, over the next year and a half. I mean, you become really good really fast. So I think it only helps you become a better stand up to get that stage time. I mean, I'm
For
not saying
sure.
anything groundbreaking there, but it's an easy way to do it and a fun way to do it. So why not?
Yeah. Oh, and Christopher Graves is saying hi from Wisconsin.
Oh, nice. Tell them to watch out for deer. That's what we got to tell them. Tell his folks I says hi. Okay. All right. Real good. And it's a heat wave out there. It's 45 degrees today. It is just
Woo-wee.
balmy. I might go tan. You know.
Yeah. Well, we got to keep her moving here. So,
Well played.
you like that?
Yeah.
You like
Yep.
that?
It was well placed. Yep. That was
Thank
very
you.
good.
Part of me thinks I'm the dab. I don't know. I I released a comedy special called The Trophy Husband, and
Uh-huh.
I was like, this is the brand. But then my wife she doesn't want to be in the picture at all. Like, so I feel
Yeah.
like me being the trophy husband, it kind of puts some sort of pressure on her, you know?
That
So
was just a funny thing to say. My wife doesn't want to be in the picture at all. So it's like, okay. I don't, this is the wrong podcast for that, I think.
it's
No,
like,
I get it, but
yeah.
you're developing your stuff just around yourself.
I don't want I want to take her out. She was in the special and whatnot, but I want for the uh next chapter of my career, I want to make sure she's insulated and not involved in anything in
Yeah.
the material side. So now I've been looking like I've been trying to like dab and hashtag bring back the dab and like I've been like
It's an interesting hashtag. I've yet to hashtag it, but I like where you're going with that.
that was such a
I can't say I approve of that, but I'm I'm excited to see where you may go with it.
Well, what I'm
I
gonna
will.
do is list 10 things about me, 10 facts, and I'm gonna work from there.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's the only advice I really offered. So yeah.
But maybe your is the part in your career where people told you to get a voice coach, and you're like, I'll just make an entire company, like, I'll just make a social media movement about it instead.
Yeah.
So never mind.
So no, never listen to anybody but yourself. That is 100% the deal. So I hope you didn't read too much into my
No.
I was very fond of your dab. I just didn't want to say it out loud.
Yeah, I'm just glad it wasn't an ope. That's what I'm
Yeah.
glad about.
Oh, say oh, while you dab.
Oh, all right, not too bad there. All right, we're
That's
working
good.
it out here. We're working it out.
Yeah.
Before we get into some people's questions here, the last thing I wanted to ask you about is your business sense. Like, it's one thing to be able to get views and like create content that connects with people, but like then you really seem to be savvy about how you. I mean, you collaborate. I mean, you have your own beer, your merch, like music. Like, can maybe put some game out there about like the business side of what you're doing and how comics can learn from that.
I think, yeah, you just don't get too overwhelmed by it. But, as soon as you have an audience, you have people who will be interested in buying shirts or whatever. And, we really tried to do ours in a way that was like representative of Wisconsin. So, and represented the Midwest. So all the stuff is like made in the US and then also printed in Wisconsin, which also is a terrible business move. So, it's great, it makes you feel good, but it's not the most business savvy thing you can do. But that's okay. I think it's a good thing to do. And I don't know. I think basically though, you learn the business side as you move through this, and it's not a big deal if you screw something up, because you're basically, as soon as things start to take off to the point of where you can make money, you're essentially going to college for business, because at least you'll fail enough tests that feels like the truth, like I failed enough things on that side, but don't let it get the best of you. Just keep doing your best to
So
stay.
are you like, as you're developing ideas for your sketches and such, are you developing ideas for business, or is it more kind of
Oh,
evolved people like
yeah,
approaching
like,
you?
oh, yeah, no, people will approach me. Yeah, I
That's how
really
most of
do.
it happens.
Yeah. I'm not going out seeking too much of it. And that's the nice thing. It's kind of like when you keep focusing on what you do well, and what I do well is not really business or that thing, but you focus on what you do well, and then people who do other things well will hopefully come to you. So,
Okay, yeah, because that's where I'm at a point with this like show is like, man, money's cool. Like, especially
mhm.
like in a pandemic and there's no live shows. It's like, yeah, money would be cool. So
Yeah.
part of me is like, how can we monetize this? But it is also the other idea is build it and they will come as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a few friends do podcasts, and you can get involved in a network. I don't know if whatever you do, just I think it's probably you want to maintain ownership, but then you can get plugged into like a thing where they sell ads over a bunch of different podcasts. I don't know
Yeah.
much about that, but I've heard people doing that. Yeah, but again, or even just you have merch for the pod, you have
Mm-hmm.
shirts and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so then that's easy enough to just advertise to folks listening. So,
Yeah. True. True that. Yeah.
yeah.
That's another thing. I just don't tell people. That's another thing.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, you tell them at the beginning and at the end, and yeah, I don't know. That's hard for me too. I kind of forget that though.
Yeah. Well, it's just cool to see. That's why I like interviewing people who like have success is you're learning. I mean, we're all still trying to figure it out. Like no
Oh
one
yeah.
has like the exact formula. It's like I sell things, it works sometimes. Like
Yeah.
people have ideas they bring to me. Like it's it's just we're all trying to figure it out as we go in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah, that is kind of it. And it's always changing. It's changing.
Yep.
What's right today is going to be wrong tomorrow. So it just keeps you on your toes.
What do you think is because you've been creating content a long time? What do you think is next in the content game, or what have you seen to be consistently still a pillar of content that comics can start to apply?
Um, you're saying like what trend or whatever? What
Yeah,
are you saying?
maybe like yeah, ask two questions at once there. Maybe like what do you see as next up in like media, like platforms, or what?
Yeah.
How we create content, things like that.
Well, kind of unfortunately, it's a lot of this vertical video stuff, which I don't think is as fun. But it's, you can have fun with it. So Instagram Reels and TikTok. Instagram is doing the thing Facebook always does, which is just try and buy up anyone else who's successful, either buy them up or steal their ideas.
Yep.
So they're ripping off TikTok with those shorter the real videos. So just make 30-second videos. That's what both of those platforms are really saying, yeah, this is what you got to do. So I just make those short videos, see if you can get some traction on either platform, and then you'll be set when the next thing comes. I'm not smart enough to know two steps down the way. I just tend to know like what you can do to improve your viewers today. Uh, but yeah, that's kind of.
Are you familiar with YouTube Shorts yet?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm not that familiar with it. I saw a thing on Reddit about those, but you just basically upload your TikToks and hashtag shorts. Is that it?
Yeah, I think they're. It sounds like they're making a move, like to really become almost like a more short form platform because they're testing it in India, and then they're gonna
Yeah,
release. They're gonna like announce it in March here in America. But I
yeah.
think in India it was actually a separate app. I believe it was like a YouTube Shorts app and then a YouTube
Uh,
app. So they're making some sort of moves there. I'm not sure what.
well, we'll see. We'll see if it's. I mean, YouTube has really not been successful in much of anything outside of just the video player, I think. I mean, it's obviously very successful with more long form series, but when
Hmm.
it comes to this, I'll be interested to see if they can compete with it or if it's going to be like Google Hangouts, which we're
Ooh, that's a
on we're
great
on Zoom
analogy.
right now, so
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
it's a great analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
So
see.
to get into a few questions here, we have a few more minutes, kiddos. Ben Webb is asking, how are some ways you have been able to get more people to engage with your content? Because that is something I've heard you talk about is like creating content that connects. So
Yeah.
how do you create that content that connects?
Well, I think putting things in that people can relate to is a big deal. Once you post your stuff, if there's a part you want to highlight, or a comment you want to highlight, I think that's important, like, or there's something in the video itself that you can make another joke about. Like it's kind of a opportunity for another joke, and then people have to watch a video to get that, and then they comment on it. Or just when people say something, just comment back at them. Treat the people you have, the fans you have. It's almost like serve the fans you have right there, not the fans you're trying to get. But as you serve your fans, more fans will come.
Oh, and you're saying, so if there's a joke within the video, you almost make that part of the caption of the video to entice
Yeah.
people.
You kind of, it'd be a topper and stand up or something like that. Yeah.
Very nice. Nice. Oh, we just got a $2 super chat from Brent.
Whoa.
Talking about monetizing. Yo.
I seriously, that's $2. I'll send you an invoice for $1 of that. I'm gonna do it.
That's a finder's fee. These are my fans, Joel. That's a finder's fee there.
That's
Hilarious. So let's do a few more here. Fat Thor podcast is asking, how and when did you, Dude, Dad, and Holderness start creating together?
So yeah, it started off. I started creating with the You Betcha guy, Miles, and then he had created something with Taylor, who's the Dude Dead guy. So I was in LA for something, and I hit up Taylor, or Taylor reached out to me saying he had worked with Miles. So it's kind of that whole thing, and then Taylor asked us if we wanted to do this Husbands of Target video. Penn was in that video, so you just kind of one leads to another, and that's a great thing to do if you can. That's actually what we're going to talk about as well, as just more collabs and stuff like that this year.
Yeah, that had me almost thinking like someone at my level. Would it be like, I guess you collab across the aisle in a sense, almost like I wouldn't like reach out to you and be like, yo, will you lift me up type deal? Is it more you kind of reach across?
Well, I think you look for people at your same following or a similar following, and
Gotcha.
the higher you go, I think, or the level of creator above. I mean, you can ask anybody, but the more you go, you want to bring something else to the table. Like, can you bring a full script to the table? And then the higher you go, also, you want to like write that character, make that person like the star of it, and you're supporting in the sketch. But if you bring something that fits, it's also good writing practice. If you're into screenwriting, it's like writing a script for, I don't know, CSI or whatever. You write in that style, that format, say, I think this would work great for you. Let me know if you want to do it.
Great. Yeah. Well, when I have an idea, you betcha.
Oh, there you
Well,
go.
that's not your channel, but still.
It doesn't matter. It's a universal phrase.
Bob Kirk, on average, is there an optimum time duration for content?
On Facebook, it's over 3 minutes. And then, TikTok is shorter, quicker, better. Same with Reels. Whatever you need to say to get the joke and get out. Facebook's algorithm just likes longer videos. And then I think YouTube's algorithm also prefers longer videos. I think podcasts actually work well on YouTube because the longer it goes, the more ads it can serve. So
yeah, it's all platform specific.
yeah.
All right, maybe two more here, real quick. Lua's Arc. This is Ash BT Dub with a smiley face. You know Ash?
Nice. Ash. Yes, I do. With the smiley face, right? Yeah.
That's her last name, actually. It's Ash Smiley Face. Her last name. It's a family name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come from a long line of faces. Ash is asking, how long did it take for either of you to realize people came to the place you were performing primarily to see you perform?
Good question. Yeah, for me, it went from people that I paid for their ticket in a bringer show. I was like, it'll be free, but it was a bringer show. I was just getting them in. It went from that to selling out theater. That's how quick it was. So
the video pops and then now you're just selling
video
out.
pops and selling out. Yeah. So, but yeah. So for me, it was not doing the clubs until people were like, "Oh, I'm here to see you." It was that other way. So
yeah, I mean, mine. I did a self-produced tour. I did a trophy husband tour promoting my special 2019. And like in Houston, actually, I had a few, I mean, by several, I mean, there's probably 5 people that came out to see me, which was really cool. But 2020 was like my second long run on the road where I was starting to build email list and like a somewhat of like people, like maybe next time 3 people would have come to see me or something, So like I was more on the road route and then quarantine hit. So I'll get back to you, Ash, when I'm in your town and you can be the first there. But that's part of the hustle.
That is, yeah, that email list. More important than you think.
Yep, you own that list.
Yeah, yeah.
Instagram could close tomorrow.
I know, yeah.
So Brent, we'll just do the final question here. Brent with a $2 super chat is asking, how do you keep it fun when it starts to feel like work?
Yeah, I think that you just get creative and goofy with it, and you just look for things that'll make you laugh, and just kind of follow the passion, because a ton of it feels like work. And just don't set the expectation that it's not gonna feel like work, because I mean, whether it's taxes or the business end of it, or Facebook or YouTube demonetize you for some false claim on your page. I mean, it's going to feel like work a bunch of days. So just expect that. And then, just be grateful for the days that feel like they're fun,
And be grateful that work is what you want to do. And it's not like working and like renting cars or something,
Yeah, definitely. If you're coming up, always get a shitty job initially, just for, I mean, whether you're 16 or whatever. I've been working since I was pretty young, but I think working so many bad jobs really reiterates how
What was your worst?
lucky you are.
Your worst job?
I would say stacking milk at Century. Yeah, I wasn't. I was not. For a guy from Wisconsin, I just wasn't that interested in the dates on the milk carton. So I got yelled at every day. And then I burnt some brats after that, and then it was game over. But I was like 12 at the time. So
that sounds legal. Yeah, that sounds legal.
Yeah,
I was 12, burning brats. It's totally safe.
I might have been 13. I could legally work, I'm pretty sure. I mean, they hired me. That doesn't always say much. But anyway, it's not around anymore. So there you go.
What was your worst bomb? Is there a bomb that you just will never forget?
Oh, yeah. No, it was the first time I was doing stand-up. I just wrote this hilarious bit, expected it to crush, got up on stage, froze, forgot it, deer in the headlights. And then I eventually just started improvising and got a little bit of a laugh, but it was like a laugh off of a just terrible, terrible bomb. It was like, well, that didn't work.
Right.
When that didn't work is your biggest laugh in a set, you bombed pretty good. And then it just took me months to get back on stage after that.
Oh,
so.
You took a big break from that bomb.
I did, but then what happened was I needed to host an event. So I was like, I'm not going to do this again at this event. So I really just forced myself to get up on stage a lot. So.
Well, this is thanks for getting up and doing this show, man. Seriously.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we always end these with like 2 things. It's one, what is like your best advice? What is your favorite advice for like comics that you could bestow upon us? Like closing advice for the next generation of comics out there.
Just keep creating. That's it. Keep creating. Create every day. And it could be something small, could be something big, but create every day and have fun with it.
Create every day and have fun with it. And the final, would you mind looking into the camera, saying your name and why people should listen to Hot Breath?
Yep. Hey there, folks. It's Charlie, host of the Manitowoc Minute. You should be listening to Hot Breath because, it's cold out there and a little hot breath feels good on your hands when you're trying to plow. Okay? Real good.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Berens, show him some love. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this, Charlie. You the man.
All right. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.